Greetings, everybody. This is your girl, Nurse Coach Jean. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Health Chat with Coach Jean. And yes, I'm back for another episode here in the chat room, episode number 85. Can you believe how fast the time flies? We are slowly moving our way, inching our way up to episode 100. And this episode, like every other, we have a treat in store for you because you know your girl likes to bring the health awareness, the knowledge, the inspiration, look, to you, to share with you and the whole wide world the most health awareness, education, and information on the planet. That's what you get right here in the chat room with me, your girl, Nurse Coach Jean Turner. And so without further ado, listen, we just recently celebrated Earth Day, which Earth Day is celebrated to bring awareness to the health of our environment, right? Particularly climate change, air pollution, water pollution, toxins within our global environment, right? But how many of you have thought about the toxins that are in your personal environment, your immediate environment? Yes, I'm talking about within your home, within your office, or wherever your workspace or place is during the age of COVID. And so my guest joining me this week here in the chat room is here. She is the guru when it comes to talking about environmental toxins, and she's about to school us on some things that you probably never thought about before. And without further ado, let's go ahead and pray and get it popping. Most gracious Father, in your precious Son's name, we thank you for the gift and the opportunity to be able to share the gift of health, healing, and holistic well-being with these, your people. I ask and pray that you would forgive us of our trespasses, our iniquities, our sin, anything we thought or said or did that was not pleasing to you. Forgive us and cleanse us from all sin and all unrighteousness. Create in us a clean heart and renew a right spirit within us. And I pray that something shared on this week's episode will encourage and edify every listener, both now and those who will catch the replay. And it's in your precious Son's name I pray. Amen, amen, and amen. And so this week, I'm excited. Y'all probably saying, Coach G, you excited every week. But no, I'm excited. Yes, I am. Because my guest joining me this week here in the chat room is a health and wellness educator and a certified fitness professional. Yes, Pamela Coleman has been in the fitness industry for over 40 years. Yes, that's longer than I've been in nursing. I've been nursing 35. But my guest, Pamela, has been in the fitness industry for over 40 years and is passionate about helping people. Recently retired from teaching at various facilities, health facilities, Pamela now focuses her attention in the wellness space with emphasis on healthy alternatives to everyday products. Did you hear me? She's going to help us with healthy alternatives to everyday products that we use. Now, she educates her individuals on how to discover the hidden toxins in their home and or office environment so that we all can choose a healthier, safer alternative to toxic products, bring great safety to our health and the health of our planet. Remember, we just celebrated Earth Day, right? So Pamela has been a group fitness instructor for Winthrop University, Kent State College, Bali Total Fitness, Peak Fitness, along with various recreational facilities in both the Carolinas, yes, North and South Carolina, here in the United States for our overseas audience. A career highlight was being the personal trainer, dig this, yo, the personal trainer to the Cleveland Cavaliers, their player wives, the wives of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, how dope is that? And she garnered them great results. And look, she herself got free seats, yo. Great seats to their games. She is the founder of Health Matters, and she has made it her business to know what will bring greater health and wellness through education and access to alternative products. And so her motto spells hope, right? And today we need hope, right? HOPE, help one person every day. I love that motto. So without further ado, Pamela, are you here in the virtual space?
Yes, I am. And thank you so much for that amazing intro. I love your energy. That just pumps me up. I'm happy to hear that, to see
Hey,
that. Yeah, thank you so much.
pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. That's what I
I'm
do.
delighted. I am honored and delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining me, taking time out of your busy schedule. You know, some of my friends call me Jean Turn Up because they say I turn up. I like to come
Hmm.
with the energy and I like to have fun right on my show. And I think this is a topic that we could be serious as well as have some fun, right?
Right,
And so
exactly.
look, I would love to start off. Let me get my reading glasses. Yes, I'm at that age now. I'm gonna have some reading glasses on.
You're cute. You're cute anyway.
Oh, thank you so much. So are you. And so, look, many people, Pamela, let's be real. When they hear the words toxins, right, they don't think about our environment outside of climate change, maybe air pollution, maybe water pollution, but they don't think of everyday products in our home and work environment. And
Yeah.
so, first, I want to start off by asking the question, like, what's the dealio? Okay. Why is it relevant that we know more about the environmental toxins?
Well, thank you so much for that perfect question. Because if I could start off by just saying something that I really, really, I had the privilege of meeting Jim Rohn, and his quote is, "Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live." I happen to agree with that, but I have to add, and your plant and our planet, because that's our home after all. So why not take care of our planet as well? And like you said, being Earth Day weekend is a perfect topic because we have to care about our earth. And Jean, if you gave me a well thought out, beautiful, intricate gift, and all I did was pour manure on it, that wouldn't show that I care much about appreciation for that gift, would it?
No,
No, I
ma'am.
know it would not. And if someone, this is all about having choices and appreciating the gift of life that we have, and the gift of this beautiful planet that we live on. And that's really what I like to focus on. Just be able to, and you think about the words clean and green, they rhyme, right? But they should do more than rhyme. We should have eco-friendly cleaners that we could actually use and benefit on, actually benefit our planet and also take care of our health at the same time. So there's a lot to tell you. For example, if I can say this, when you rinse something down the drain, it's out of sight. It's out of sight, but it's still on the planet.
Right.
You know, so that's something to think about. Whatever toxins we're rinsing down the drain, okay, it's out of here, but it's still there. And there are some toxic detergents that if you could actually, if you put it in your palm of your hand, it would actually burn your hand, within a few seconds. Why? Because of the phosphates in it. And there's a interesting fact that annually the U.S. Uses 2 million tons, 2 million tons of phosphates just to make dishwashing detergent annually. So, but when you think about the laundry detergent, the one I was talking about, it actually takes 52 years for it to be safe in the environment after it's out there. So these are things that just make you go, what? Seriously? And that's why I just thought, well, I've got to share what I know, because when you put it, whatever thing you put on your skin is in your bloodstream in 26 seconds. So it matters that what we put on our skin, and a lot of the stuff that we're using for cleaning, it's in us. One of the dishwashing detergents I'm talking about literally has formaldehyde in it. And I have a list of 20 names of different products that the Mayo Clinic said has formaldehyde in it, and they're all popular stuff. And we're using it. Formaldehyde, Jean, that's what you get embalmed with after you are gone. So it's ideal.
Exactly.
We don't want formaldehyde in our bloodstream while we're living. No, it's a cancer causing agent. So little did we know, but knowledge is power. I mean, I used to use all this stuff, but the beautiful thing is our body wants to heal itself. So if we can get rid of the toxins around us, it's going to start saying, oh, thank you. And now right away, we start seeing improvements in our health.
My God. So you see, I'm sitting here like, I mean, you and I know this stuff, but you a little bit more deep in it than I am, right?
Yeah,
Because I didn't know over 2 million tons. Is that what you said?
that's what I said, of phosphates annually, just to make dish detergent. Now, we're not talking about everything else. So that is crazy. And you know what's interesting too, is that the European Union restricted 1,300 toxic chemicals not to be used there, but USA only restricted 11. What's up with that? I mean, there's stuff that we make in the USA that they won't even allow in Europe or Japan. So crazy. And all this information I'm giving you, I can, if anybody at the end or whatever later on, I can email you where I got all these stats. But it's just, it's crazy. There's one thing I could tell you that was pretty interesting. Have you seen that? Have you heard of that movie, the film called The Toxic Baby by any chance? Or 2010. Okay, good. That was Penelope Schaefer did that one. She brought out some shocking information in there that I was blown away. I mean, I understand some of this stuff, but I like to keep learning, and that film, it just showed how not just the US, but industrializations around the world are dealing with terrible results, from unwittingly people using things that they don't even realize. For example, there's a certain product someone can use, and it has phenol in it and whatever, these are like neurotoxins also are in there. And these deal with your nervous system, central nervous system. So, well, when it actually later on, it can make you depressed or have other issues. And you would never think that, well, must be depressed because I did my spring cleaning. No, you wouldn't connect the dots,
No.
And so that's the problem. That's why we have to find out. And the reason why all these things are allowed to be in the stores is because people think they're safe, because they think the government must regulate all this stuff. But no, the government, these are all regulated by federal law that was back in 1966. And they do you need me to stop for a second?
No. Keep going.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
I just had something cross my mind.
Oh, okay. Well, hold that thought.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. Okay. I will. They actually they did this federal law. It's a Fair Packaging and Labeling Act of 1966, and in that law, there's no requirements to be safe. There's no requirements to list every ingredient in the product, and there's only a requirement for a label, which limits liability of the manufacturer. So if it could say fatal, it could say corrosive, danger, whatever. As long as it's on there, they can put it on the stores. And you know how it is when you go down I call the chemical aisle, the cleaning aisle of the store. You can barely breathe when you go down that aisle. And so that's because of all the off-gassing of the chemicals that are there in the aisle. But go ahead, what was your thought?
So yeah, you touched on several things, girlfriend. Let me just say that. I did a whole study on environmental toxins probably about 3 to 4 years ago when I was walking through a suddenly health crisis. That's what really brought my attention to it. Number one, you're right. When you go down the chemical aisle in our stores, you can smell that stuff. Even now when we in masks, you can still smell all the chemicals. That ought to tell you something right there.
Yes.
But it's like, it's the same thing with our foods, right? How many of us, now you do it, and I'm sure I do it, but how many people actually look at the labels, at the ingredients in the products that they are purchasing, and then do they even know what it is? What, you see what I'm saying? This is why we got to educate ourselves. We have got to do our research. We got to educate ourselves. But getting back to that other point you made about the EU, I read that too in my studies, right? I think the number has changed since I studied it. What was that number you said of the products they have banned that we still use here?
Yeah, it was, let me look at my numbers and make sure I say it right. 1,200, let's see, 1,300, something like that, 1,300 chemicals where we only did 11.
Right. So they are all on it over in the EU, over in Europe. They
Yes.
have banned stuff for decades that we still use here. But I thought that act even was more outdated than before 1960s. I thought it dated back to like the 30s or 40s when I did my research, though.
Yeah,
That's
it was
either way you put it, it is very much outdated by a whole lifetime. Let's just
Yeah.
put it that way.
Absolutely. And things. The harsh truth, according to the CDC, is that people back in the 1910s. Speaking about going back, me think of this another statistic that's really alarming. In the 1910s, 1 in 8,000 people were diagnosed with cancer. Today, it's 1 in 2. And that's because the cancer rates quickly changed after World War I, when they were using selling off all the chlorine that was being used as a chemical in the war. And so it made its way to we're in the chemical era. It's made its way into our homes with serious health consequences.
Yeah, and the mustard gas and all of that other stuff, which a lot of the chemotherapy treatments that they giving you consist of that stuff. And I don't know how
Mhm.
many people know that. Very neurotoxic, very cardiotoxic, just toxic, period. And so that leads me into, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit because again, most people don't think about this, right? When they're
Right.
purchasing their products that they're using in their homes for cleaning, even in our personal care products, even in our makeup. I know over the last few years, I very seldom wear makeup. I usually only wear it when I'm in front of the camera, like now, to be honest with you.
Well,
That's really
so
the only time. Go
well, when
ahead.
you mentioned that again with makeup, there is alternative makeup that you can use that is safe and affordable, but that what you're right, makeup they've discovered that it even still has lead in it and arsenic in it and all the lipsticks and everything, and there's no regulation, and so it's
Right.
okay, they can do whatever they want with that. Come on, and we're not thinking about it. So compromising our health to be look a little better or have clean dishes. I mean, we're compromising our health in these things. Like just a quick little sidetrack. Our dishwasher vents to the inside, so it's the chemicals are coming in. Our dryer vents outside, right? But our dishwasher, we're breathing in this, and we don't. But there's alternatives with
Right.
enzymes and things that you can use that you could actually breathe and clean at the same time, or put your makeup on and be happy because it's actually feeding your skin and not hurting your skin.
Right, and I get it. So I've never been one to wear makeup. Like you're not going to catch this chick in makeup every day. I just need a little something to fill in my eyebrows, and my audience know I'm very transparent,
Some
and
people can.
I can't stand dry lips, so I got to have something on my lips. But and then being in the army for 25 years, we didn't wear makeup in combat uniform. I mean, come on,
Wow.
really, seriously. But with that said, I began to be more cognizant of the once in a blue moon when I do wear it. I have switched to more organic, more plant based,
Perfect.
products.
Minerals, yeah, minerals or things like that
Yeah,
that are
and let's
healthy.
face it. Let's be honest, Pamela.
Yes.
We can't totally avoid all chemicals because
No.
of the
And
world
we
we
have to get
live
off the
in.
planet.
Right. But we can make better choices,
That's the whole thing.
and think about what is the better choice when we go to purchase these products. And so, you already touched on this. So I want to dig a little deeper into the personal care products, our makeup, our deodorants, our lotions, our shampoos, because there are key words, right? I like to
Mhm.
say buzzwords that we should be aware of and should know and have in our arsenal so that we see them in products, we'll be like, okay, that's not a good choice. That's not the best choice.
Yes, yes. You want to make sure it doesn't, nothing you put in your body has triclosan, parabens, any of those. Those are some bad words, and we want to be able to keep away from things that are chemically laden. So if the less that you see in there, the better in regard to what's ingredients wise, and it makes a huge difference if you can. Now they're not going to put the word arsenic on there
No.
because so they're going to use some kind of chemical name, which I don't know what it is. so that you wouldn't know what it is. But parabens, triglycerides, sulfates, phthalates, I mean, we don't want any of those in there either.
Right, right. And so I'm glad you said about the parabens and the sulfates, because it seemed like they in just about every freaking shampoo
Yeah,
and
and
hair
yeah,
care product that there is.
and
But
but you can get organic. You can get organic, and you can,
right,
and it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg either. And
right.
I don't want to. Whenever you're ready, I want to tell you guys something very, very alarmingly important that it's written up in the American Critical Care Journal of Respiratory Health, because you mentioned, like, in this COVID time, everybody's been caring about their cleanliness to keep the germs away, right? Well, is this a good time to tell you, or are we want to
Go
stand
ahead.
here?
Go
All
ahead.
right, because this is just one of the most alarming things. And it was done by an independent study, 9 countries, over 6,000 people took part in the study, men and women alike, 28 researchers, and they monitored people as they used different quaternary cleaners or what have major brands, and they actually used these, and then they monitored people who were not using them but that were smoking. And it's actually, I could send it to you. It's a lung damage study, and it was all over the news. And it actually shows that if you use a disinfectant or a spray or a wipe even one time in a week, it's equal damage to smoking 20 cigarettes that day, or 7 packs of cigarettes that week. 7 packs of cigarettes versus using something once. People were using different things more than once a day to just wipe down the baby, tray, or wipe with their hands. This is something that was alarming to me, to find out that that's an independent study that they're saying there's 7 different findings, and one of them was about asthma. One of them was about as if you smoked 7 packs of cigarettes. So that blew my mind, and that kind of put the dots together for my friend who lost a lung because she was doing occupational cleaning, and sure enough, she didn't connect those dots. Now, and it said the occupational cleaners and the people at home, same exact results. It didn't matter that they were using it, because if they're in the home or they're out there, it's the chemicals that's in them.
It's the chemicals in them. And
Yeah.
so you brought up an interesting point that I'm going to touch on in a minute, but I'm going to get back. And that is thank you for sharing that, because that's very interesting, especially now since more people have become, I mean, really, when you think about this pandemic, the stuff that they say to do, we should have been doing. Our parents taught us growing
Yes.
up, wash your hands, right?
Wash your hands.
Sneeze and cough into a tissue, cover your nose and mouth, wash it. I mean, come on. But people are more conscious of it now, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these products like the hand sanitizer and stuff, that's why I'd rather just be in a place where I have access to water and can wash my hands, because you got to be very cognizant even of these hand sanitizers. Like I have an organic one that I use,
Good.
right? But you have to, knowledge is only power if we apply it.
That's
So
true.
we have to be knowledgeable. We have to educate ourselves. And so getting back to a lot of these things right in our own homes, like you said, we talked about the makeup, we talked about the cleaning products, we talked about the detergent. Oh my God. Let's talk about something that everybody, right? I don't think there's a person on this earth who doesn't drink bottled water, or at some point or another has drunk it. Do you even consider the bottle that the water is in? If it's full of BPA, and I could never pronounce that name, that word,
don't ask me to
and
either.
I'm not going to try to, but we need to be cognizant of even the bottle that the water is in, because it contains that chemical BPA.
Yes, and there's a whole big study on that really proved that to be true, as far as the leaching into the water that you're drinking, and then not to mention the groundwater itself. There's another movie to tell you about. You probably saw Dark Waters, that talked about DuPont and or anyway, Dark Waters. It's a movie, everybody's seen it. 1919. It just showed that the atrazine is the worst chemical that's in the water. So then they take that water and then they put it in bottles, and so here we are drink and one of the water bottles was like banned in the UK twice, or so we have to think about what we're drinking, and when we watch certain expose movies that are true story, it's like, wow, that's terrible, but then it's still allowed. Anyway. So you have to kind of like look back and say, what am I gonna do about that for me? And there's ways you can filter your water. There's things you can do to help yourself.
Right. But you have to realize, and I don't think many people realize this. Unfortunately, it is really all about what is best for the big companies. It's really what is best for our political system. If there's money to be made, that seems to be the driving force, at least here in America. Now, this is an international podcast, international show. So for our listeners, it might be different where you live, especially if you are joining us from the EU. And thank God for that. But here in America, we still have a lot of work to do, unfortunately.
That's true.
And we have a lot of work to do. But unfortunately, and I mean, it's just like this, it's the same thing with pharmaceutical companies and big pharma. It's about making money. It's about passing legislations and stuff that's going to benefit the economy and big government and big pharma. And you know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be so. So they're not looking at all of that. It's unfortunately, it's about this, the almighty dollar. And that's unfortunate. And for those of you who are tuning in, who think that, oh, the government ain't going to put out nothing that's going to harm us. Oh, it's FDA approved. Just because it says FDA approved doesn't necessarily mean it's good for us in the long run. Now, stuff does take time to develop. Over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Just think about the damage being done if you continue to come in contact or inhale or digest these different chemicals. What is your thoughts on that, Pamela?
Absolutely, 100% true. And in fact, you just touched on a 15-year study that was done, and it was called Toxic Chemicals, a Loaded Gun, because you said over time, and that's what it is, over time. We just say, well, I feel great. We don't know what's going on little by little, and that's why every little thing we do, it's a positive step in the right direction. Even if we're just doing it for ourselves or our family, we can set the example, we can do the best we can. But the study brought out that people who lived at home, a 54% higher chance of cancer than those who worked outside the home. So making sure your own personal environment is safer is huge for your family, and then set the example. You can't help what's going on in the political realm or any of that stuff, but you can help what you do. You can say, okay, I think I want to learn, figure out, where I can get safer, healthier things or what have you,
Right. It's a personal choice. And I believe God gives us the gift of choice. And so we choose. And to our listeners, this is not to scare anybody. It's just to make you more aware of what's really going on and make you more aware so that you can make the better choices. As long as we are living, we're going to be surrounded by chemicals, but we have a choice, and we are able, in most instances, to control what we bring into our personal space, our personal environment. Now, if you work somewhere, right, Pamela, if you work somewhere and you have no control over it, then we have an obligation to educate our employers, educate our co-workers, right? And so, that I do believe we have we have an opportunity and a responsibility to educate others about what we do know.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, hey, guess what? I used to use that too, but did you know? And then it's just a matter of, we're not pointing the finger at anybody. We all have used the wrong thing unwittingly. But even the EPA, it's kind of a funny little definition. You said your workplace. I discovered a quote from the EPA about sick building syndrome. Have you heard of that before?
Sick building syndrome?
Sick building. It's a 2-sentence quote from the EPA. May I read it?
Go ahead.
Okay. It said here, this is kind of something. It says, a condition experienced by building occupants with acute health effects that appear to be linked to some time spent in a building, but no specific illness or cause can be identified. Okay, so, well, maybe there's some kind of pesticide that somebody used to wipe off your desk and didn't know it, didn't know they had formaldehyde in it. Or maybe there's some kind of spray in the bathroom that's causing this. Maybe people are just feeling sick and they don't know why. It's because of the toxic chemicals and probably in the cleaning around them, who knows? But I thought that was interesting that they acknowledge that you can just go to work and get sick because you're at work and you were fine when you went in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ah,
And so going back to those statistics you gave earlier about the cancer rates, 1 in 2 people, there is a reason. And I
yes.
think that our environment is we need to talk about this more in environmental toxins, because I don't think many people, especially those, I'm not even going to say those within healthcare, because conventional medicine and these different entities, they may not even be thinking about it neither. Everything is not directly related to what we digest. Some of it is directly related to what we inhale, right? And
Yes.
because look at
Yes.
this, look at people who don't smoke, but they've been exposed to secondhand smoke. Like my mom, and my audience knows I'm very transparent. My mom never smoked a day in her life, ended up with colon cancer. My dad, on the other hand, who smoked, was a heavy smoker. He didn't die of cancer, never had
Wow.
cancer.
Isn't that, and you know what, you're right about inhalation, because most people think that when you get poisoned, it's because of ingestion, but according to 911, every 30 seconds, a child is poisoned in the US, but not from ingestion, from inhalation. So this is a real thing. And you're right, just being able to be near somebody else, that's why the golden rule, we need to do what we can do that what we would want someone to do to us. Just
That's
be as,
right.
you know,
That's
be
right.
as careful as possible in this imperfect world that we live in.
Right. And so, even thinking about a lot of the buildings, I remember, because I'm retired military, one of the installations I was stationed at, I'm sorry, that's my timer. One of the installations I was stationed at, they had buildings were so ancient from decades ago, full of asbestos. Can you
Yes.
imagine the people that worked in those asbestos filled buildings all of those years, those decades? Can you imagine the buildings and the housing with mold and these different things, substances, and people living in them, like some of the projects back in major metropolises? We don't know.
No.
We truly don't know. And so all of these play a role in, our health and our overall health and well-being. And so, Pamela, as we begin to wind down this week's episode of Health Chat with Coach Jean, please take one moment to leave a final thought with our audience.
Okay, thank you. Well, I want to help people live a happier, healthier life. That's my, as you brought out, help one person every day. That's my desire. And I hope I help you at least start on a path to educating yourself on things you may not have already been aware of. And just take a second to think about what, read the label, think about what we talked about. And I'm more than happy to, of course, help anybody learn more about it if they want to reach out to me.
And what is your website or your email address and your social media handles to where they can reach out and see about all the wonderful things you're doing and reach out and contact you if they so choose?
Well, thank you. Well, my email is Pamela Coleman, which is my name, Pamela, and then it's KOLLMAN @iCloud.com. So just all together, Pamela Coleman @iCloud.com. And then I have LinkedIn. Also my name is just LinkedIn IN/Pamela. So you can find me there. I don't really have a website to send you to because it would incorporate my company, and I'm not going to talk about that right now, but I do hope that you'll give me a call, 704-576-8198. You can text me and I'll be happy to and even send you any of the information that I shared today.
So are you just on LinkedIn? Are you on any of the other social media outlets?
Well, believe it or not, I'm just on LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, if that's working for you, girlfriend, then hey, because not every social media platform works for everybody.
Yeah,
okay.
I really enjoy meeting people there. Now I use my Instagram account with the grandkids, but as far as business goes, I'm just on LinkedIn right now.
That's how we linked up. How we linked up on
There you
LinkedIn.
go. Well, I have to, you're funny, but yeah, health matters is what is my thing. And I do appreciate you so much, your insights as well. I just really enjoyed our commentary together.
Well, I want to just thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me here in the chat room for this episode, another episode of Health Chat with your girl, Nurse Coach Jean. So thank you so much, Pamela. I also want to give a special shout out to my producer, the Batman of Charm City himself, Mr. Jerry Royce Live, and the entire Positive Power XXI family. And to you, my listening audience, thank you so much for tuning in this week. And as always, I wish you grace, peace, and health.
Bye-bye.